Hello, we're going to be starting now, and we're going to be working with Siemens, and we're going to look at the cash register program, and we'll start with a building of a PLC program, and then we're going to build a HMI program, and we're going to put them together, and we're going to download, and we're going to watch it work, and that will be our plan. So we're going to go, this is already, I opened the TIA portal, and we're going to do project 1. So I go to project view, and it says online access, no, and we're going to new project. Okay, so it's going to be project 2. We're going to create a project. And we're going to add a new device. And we're going to pick a controller, and we're going to pick a, we'll come down to the 1214 DC, DC, DC. You want to pick the third one, which is a 40, AG40. We have several choices. We're going to pick the 4.0. That's the firmware version. And we're going to start programming. So we're going to take a, we're just going to do one ingredient, and you'll end up doing 6 ingredients, but you just have to build 6 of what I'm doing. So we're going to go to the program block. Main will be 1. Oh, before we do that, we need to go under devices, networks, show the device again, and I need to add the signal board. I'm going to drag that over. And I also need to try the Profinet interface and make sure it's set to 03. Comes up set as at 01. We want to set it at 03. We want to leave 01 alone, and 02 alone. Is 02 is the computer, and 03 is the Siemens, and 04 is the Allen Bradley. Now I should, and I am going to compile this, and then right click on that button, compile hardware and software, and just test to see if it's going to download. If it isn't going to download, there's no use to build a program because there's something else wrong. So we need to make sure that it can download, and it'll download. We've already tried this, and we should be able to do it. But now click, right click again, download to device, hardware and software. And it's going to say PLC 1, type CPU 1214, 192.168.03. We come down here and we put PNIE. Then we select, now we're going to go, in this case, from the Ethernet, and you might be from a specialty card or whatever on the computer, but basically we're going to pick the card that is the hard card, and that's this one. It's the one that actually is attached to the PLC. And then we come down here and click Start Search. It takes a while, but it found it. This little orange thing says it's found it, and it says it's found it at this one. And say, now I'm going to say load. I'm going to say load, and it should load. We're loading nothing, but we're at least testing to see if it'll load, and it will. Once you've done this, if it's pink, you have to address it. So here you say stop all, then you can click load. And then say finish. So we've proven we can download to the processor, so we don't have to worry about that. Come back now to our program. There was still plenty of space here. We can move this area up as well. So I can have as much area as I possibly can for programming. This area in the middle is the programming area. So I want to bring over a contact, and when it turns green, I let go. And I want to say whopper button, or whopper B. Right click, define tag. Now here you got to be really careful. You do not want a local, you want a global memory, and it will automatically assign it to M0.0 unless you tell it to go someplace else, and we're good with M0.0. So that's loaded now in our program. And then we're going to use a counter for this. You could use an add block if you wanted to, but we're going to use a counter for our incrementing. As you push the button, you're going to increment each time. We're going to use a counter for that. So as you're adding whoppers, you keep hitting the button, and that increments it by 1 each time you hit the button. So we're going to say whopper count. Come down here, click OK, and that's going to populate this as a counter. And this is an up-down counter because we're going to say if you hit cancel last, the button cancel last, you're going to go down by 1. So basically, I'm going to go up by 1, going to go down by 1, but we're going to use the CU for counting up, the CD for counting down. So this is the counting up. Now we're going to put a PV in here as a big number, 9999 or something like that. And the count down would be another button. We're going to come over here and get another button. It's right there. And that's to say cancel last. Again, right click, define tag, not a local, but a global. And it rolls to the next bit, M0.1. But we also want to add in here some logic that says what? That says, okay, now I want to, when I get count up, I'm going to do some more logic here. Now watch this. So what I'm going to do with this button is I'm going to Control C, come down here and Control V. So I'm going to put a number in a location, and I want to call it last, the last number. So if it's whopper, it would be 1. If it's the next item, maybe fries, it would be 2. If it was a drink, it would be 3. You're going to store a number in a location. So you're going to move, do a move instruction, which is right here. Move a number 1, like I'd say move the number 1 into this word called last. So the last button, or maybe just say last button, okay. Okay, last button. Okay, so last button is a integer. I define it. Now it could be it has to be global. It could be a byte if you want it. It could be a word if you want it. Let's just say it's a byte for grins and giggles. Let's just say it would be a byte. So we're going to define it as a byte. With Allen Bradley, you don't get that choice, but with Siemens, you get the choice of a byte. Okay, so now I'm going to store the number 1. You're only going to go from 1 to 8, so it's not or 1 to 6, so it's not a big deal if you go to 255. So you can use that if you want to. Okay. So I want to say up here, I want to have a comparison statement. If, and when it turns green, that's when I can let go. If last button equals 1. So you see what I'm checking is to see if when you hit cancel last, if the last button hit was the one that you assigned to the number 1, you're okay. And I also want to compare the comparison statement that you're greater than 0. In other words, the count over here, which is this word right here, the CV, which we're going to say whopper count. Let's just say accumulated count, whopper ACC, okay? Right click, define tag, and you can make it an int or you can make it a dent. Right now, let's just make it an int. It doesn't really matter, okay? So, and whopper accumulated is greater than 0. So you can't count down past 0. You can't go negative, and you only are going to do this countdown if the last button hit was the whopper count, which is the one that moved up. Okay, so now we also have a reset button, which is another button which we're going to use bit logic for. It says basically, okay, right there is reset. Okay, right click, it's a button, define it. Global. All right, so we basically have filled this thing up and we really don't care about that load. We already put a variable in there for that. But what's next? Okay, well, basically, this gets us everything we need on this whopper count, except for the fact that we now have we want to make a total for how much all this is worth. So we're going to say, okay, so we're going to say whopper. We're going to say not a comparator statement, but a math instruction. So we're going to do a calculate block, and we just let this happen all the time if you want to. It doesn't really matter. But the type is going to be a real, because we want dollars and cents. And our inputs, one of our inputs is going to be this whopper accumulated value, okay? Whopper accumulated value is the count of how many whoppers we actually have picked up. And the second one is going to be the price, which we're going to call whopper amount, or how much it's cost. I could say cost, whopper cost. So I've got this thing called cost, which you have to define. This one we're going to define as a real. Okay, and the output is going to be what we're going to call the word total. So it's going to be a real also. Okay, so expression is what? N1 times N2. Now, if you have six of them, you're going to have to come down here and click this, and it'll insert more of these inputs. And you say N1 times N2 plus N3 times N4 plus N5 times N6, etc. You just have to keep building that. But that's all it is. That's the only difference between what we're doing and that. So here we are. And now, what else? Well, that's about it, I think, from this side of it. So let's go back and go over and start on the HMI side. So I have to add a new device, and that's an HMI, and the basic. Let's just go with basic, and let's go with a 12-inch display. And let's go with the 12. Let's go with the 15-inch display. Okay, so we've got a big display there. So we're now going to be building a display that we can look at. Just to keep hitting next until you say finish, and I can say finish, and you're done. Okay, so it comes up with one display, which is the root display, and you really, under your screens, you really don't want to use that when you want to start with a new one. So click New Screen, and they also right-click on it, and it says Define a Start Screen. So now notice what happened. That little green triangle moved from the root screen to screen 1. So when it starts up, it's going to start up with screen 1, and that's what we want. Now, with this application, you want 2 screens, so I'm going to add another one, which is going to be screen 2. We're going to start with screen 1. So I'm going to come over here and get a button. There's a button. Now, you have a choice. You can either do a triangle or rectangle and animate it or use it, or you can use a button, which is one of these things right here. So This is the one that says Whopper. Now you're going to have 6 of these, Whopper and then fries and then whatever, but I'm just going to do one of them. But I want you to get the idea that, this is one of 6. So you're going to have this thing plus 5 more. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to look at the properties of this thing called button. And here are the properties of it. And you can see that it says, I'm going to say Whopper. Okay. Click on this one. And now it's going to come down here. I want to say, okay, what would be the other one? Whopper. Okay. This one says, okay, so now when it's pushed or when it's not pushed, it's going to say Whopper. Okay, we're going to do it both ways. All right, so the event would be when you press the button, you add a function over here, and it's an edit bit function, and set bit while key press is what you want. So this would be like a push button. You push it, it's a 1, let it go, it's a 0. And now you're going to go find the tag for it, and the tag is up in the PLC tag base, but it's right here, and this is the one called Whopper button, Whopper B. Okay, so let's test this to see if this works. So right now we're into this program. Now let's go up here and compile. So we're now compiling the HMI program. Oh, I've got to go back. I forgot. We've got to go back to the devices and networks. And it already has these two tied together. So if they're not tied together, you're going to have to tie them together. But it automatically evidently did it. But again, you have to maybe bring these together. But I'm going to come over here and click on this one to make sure that I've got my IP address correct. The IP address for the HMI is going to, before you compile it, you're going to have to Profinet, make sure it's got a Profinet address, and it should be, make it 5. So it's set at 2, so you want it to be a 5. If it's at 2, it'll clobber the computer, so you definitely don't want that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the HMI program now that we've got this set. Okay, now we're in the HMI program. Come up and do the compile. Come back down here. But now, whoops, we lost our button, didn't we? Where did it go? We lost it. We didn't get it. Okay, so let's go back and put the button in again. Okay, there it is. Properties of the button. We want to make it a Whopper. And it does that jump when you do that, but you want to come back down here and say Whopper. Okay, so it says Whopper in both cases. Now event would be add a function, edit bit. Okay, I want to go back. It's not edit bit, it's under event. Yeah, click on this, press event, do add function. Set bit while key pressed. And it's going to be the set bit while key pressed, and the tag will be the Whopper button. So we're now going to click up here, and we're going to click compile. Compile button is active. We're going to compile. And we see there's no errors. And we also see that there's 9 warnings, but we don't really need to know anything about that. But we do notice this little button up here, Start Simulation, is active, so we're going to click on that. Now this is This is going to simulate just that one button, but now we're going to have the simulator come up, and it's going to be used. And then we're also going to come over here, and we're going to click on, while that's compiling, we're going to go back and look at our mainline program. So we're going to go online with it. We've already downloaded it, but we are going to go online with it. And we see down here the simulator program. So we're online, and we're going to click the glasses. So we click in this area. We're going to click the glasses. So the glasses are active. We're online. We should be okay. We should do a download. I'm sorry. We should be doing a download. Okay, do a download. And we should be able to click on the glasses now. And we see that this Whopper button is active. And we're going to bring this down. We're going to bring the RT, the program from that, over, and we're going to use it over here kind of on the side. And we probably could do this as well. We could probably bring this over a little bit. No, it doesn't really matter. We're fine with that. Let's bring the RT program back. Now, if I click on Whopper, watch what happens. Every time I click on the button Whopper, see it increments by 1, by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's actively running in the program. So we're now going to go back. We're going to stop the runtime program, and we're going to go back to our HMI program. So we're communicating. That's basically what we wanted to prove there, and we are communicating. So I'm going to go to screen 1, and we want to continue. So I have that Whopper button, and I have this other button over here called Cancel Last, which is a so I'm going to have my 6 ingredients coming down this way. Cancel Last will be over here, and it is a button, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to say, okay, Cancel Last, Properties, and it's going to have, whoops, I want to go Properties first. It's called Cancel Last. And okay, so Cancel Last, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to go over under Events, and we're going to say under Events, we're going to say click on Cancel Last, and then press an add function. Set Milwaukee pressed, and then the tag for Set Milwaukee pressed is going to be the Cancel Last button. We're going to go find it and Cancel Last button. So now we've got the Cancel Last. So the other thing we want to do is we want to see how many. Let's move this Cancel Last over a little bit. We want to see how many of these Whoppers we've actually added. So this over here is a numeric display, and we're going to use it to show how many Whoppers we actually have. And remember that we have this thing called Whopper ACC that will show us how many that is. So basically under this device right here, this is I/O field, you have to pick what kind of thing it is and whether it's type. So it's going to be Whopper accumulated value. So we're going to say ACC, and that's right here. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to say, what kind is it? Is it an input output? It's just an input. It's just an output device. So we're going to show that, and there's no decimal places. So basically, we're going to see how many Whoppers we have. The accumulated value of Whoppers is going to be displayed right there. Okay. Cancel last. And what other buttons did we have? We had a reset button, didn't we? We had a reset button. So we're going to bring over here a reset button. Call this reset. Okay, general text, we're going to say reset. Okay, so this is going to be a reset button, and again, events is going to be a click on it. You got to click on it, press, add a function, set bit while key pressed. That's our popular button, and then set bit while key pressed. And we now get to pick the bit, that's the reset bit, and we're going to do that. So we now have 4 or 5 things to do here, and we're going to try to also add in this a go to button. So we're going to put a button over there that says go to the other screen. So we're going to have the other screen populated with a, when I press this key, I want to do a move to another screen. I want to go to another screen. Okay, so I want to go another screen. Activate screen number, and it's going to say screen number 1 or screen number 2. And I'm going to say on this properties, go to screen 2. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then when it's pressed, we're going to still always also say that. Okay, so that's good. Go to screen 2, and we may make it a little bit longer so we can actually drag that out and say we can see that. So that's going to go to screen 2. Now in screen 2, which is this one right here, we have a count of whoppers, but we also have an amount. Oh, the other thing I want to do is on screen 1 is to display the total. So let's do that. That's this, right? This is one of these things. Go to screen. Let's go. This is our total, and it's a total. Basically, it's the tag called total, and it's an outputs, and it is displayed in decimal, and it's displayed in decimal, Ted, and it is a value. Type is output. It's a real, and format. We got to go down here and pick format. We're going to pick dollars and cents. So this would be the format type. Okay, so we're going to compile all this and see if this works, and see if we've got any problems. Nope, no problems so far. Let's go to the other screen, see if we can display the price, which is, again, we use this thing, but now it's going to be input and output. So we're basically going to say this is an in-out, and this is our whopper cost. Okay, so this would be our whopper cost. So this one you're going to be able to say whopper cost, and it's an in-out. So it should come up with the ability to display. Okay, so we're going to display that in dollars and cents. It's our whopper cost, and I should do a text that says that. So I want to bring over some text that says that. Okay, this is going to be a text field. want it in black. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here and just say upper cost. Move it back a little bit. So we're now even with that upper cost, and we're going to be able to put that number in. We also have to have a button that moves us back to the other screen, which is a go to screen 1. Okay, so we do that. Okay, so we can now put that in there. Let's try this whole thing out and see if it works. So I've got one, and we're going to do a compile. And now click the little start simulation. Start simulation, yes. I should always check to make sure that okay, so it should go to screen 1. I didn't put that in there, so it's going to go back. Not to say that I want to go to screen 1, I want to actually have to do the action to go to screen 1. So I got to make sure that I'm going to screen 1, not just say I'm going to screen 1. So that would not work. So we're back now. See if we can get our runtime program up and running. And as soon as that comes up, we should be able to start simulation. Yes. Okay. So it starts the simulation on the screen that we're last on. So we'll go back and say, okay, so here is our number. Hopper's going up 8, 9, and we've got to go back to screen 2 to set the price. Let's see if we can set the price. Let's go with 9. Let's go with a big expensive Whopper and enter, see if that sets. It does. Now go to screen 1 to see if we got our price. And it's too big, so it overflowed that number. So something is wrong there. We got to go back and we got to check that out. Let's just see what we got now. Let's see if we can go to screen 1 and see what screen 1 and see what the total, the issue of the total is. Let's see what that is right there. So let's go down under General and Total Properties. That button and see what that says. Let's go down and see if we can find let's find that one. Maybe that's the right one. Dollars and then 99.99. Let's try that one. Compile. Okay. Do the run simulation. Start simulation. See if this works. So how many Whoppers do I have? And let's see how much costs, how much I've got 9 and I've got $89.91, and it seems to be working. So we're good there. So this is get you started with the Siemens program for the Whopper. Take care. Have a good day. Okay, we're now starting with the Allen Bradley. And we're going to call up Studio 5000, and we're going to create a new project. And with Logix, And we come down here under the 5370, click the first one, the L16ERBB1B, give it a name, let's call it Whopper. Hit enter. And revision is 13, expansion, we have to put in 0 modules. And say finish. The project already exists, you want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it. So we're now going to create a program in Studio 5000 using the Logic Designer. So we're going to do the same thing we did with Siemens. We're going to do it with Allen Bradley. So it takes a little bit of time, but we'll get the base screen up here and let's start programming. Now under main program, click and we just say OK to this and we get main routine and we got our screen. So I'm going to start typing. I'm going to bring a contact down, examine on. I'm going to say Whopper button. Whopper B if you want to. And I misspelled it. I should say Whopper, I should say Whopper. Whopper B, right click, new. Now I don't have to worry about the M table, and I just make sure that it's a bool and it's a local tag because we're going to use these buttons, but they're virtual buttons. They're not going to be tied to screw terminals. So I'll have to just say create. And we're going to count up with the Whopper button. I'm over here under timer counter and find CTU. And I type in Whopper. And I put a preset of 9999 or something like that, a big number. Okay, so I have to declare Whopper as a counter. And I just see that the type is counter and I say create. And now I can put my preset in, 9999, away I go. Okay, so now I can come down here and add another, well, I want to do that move. So let's just go over here and put a jumper around Whopper. And come over here and find a move instruction. So I find move, and here's my move block. And I want to move the number 1 into the word last. Okay, right click on the word last, new, and it is a local tag. And let's just, do you want to make it a dent or an int? Well, let's just make it let's make it an int. Those are the only choices we have, but let's just say an int. Okay, now we've taken care of that portion. Then we want to be able to count down, and so we start a new rung. So come over here, start another rung, and I want to do a cancel last, which is under favorites. Cancel last button. Right click, new cancel L, bool, or rip. Okay, now I come over here and I say equals, compare, do the equals sign, last, was equal to the number 1. Okay. And the count in great, so I'm going to do a comparison statement greater than Whopper ACC is greater than 0. Okay. And then we do a countdown then with this. So we're going to come under counts. And Whopper. The count down. So it reset, it set it up. So now we've got the count up and we've got the count down. And we go to another rung. And I want to reset. I click, new reset, pool, create. And then I come over here under timer and counter and find my RES. And I say Whopper. And it is a counter. And I'm all set. Okay. So that gets me fairly far along. I need to do the modification, which is the compute block, CPT, and the destination is word total. New total, and that would be not a dent but a real. Okay, the expression, we're going to have to come up with a, it would be Whopper .acc times Whopper cost. Now it's going to come up here and it's not going to let us do that because new Whopper cost is, see, I can actually say that right here. And that should not be a dent, that should be a real. Okay, so now it's compiled. So this should work. This is what we need on this page. So Whopper cost times Whopper accumulated value plus the next one times it, so you can keep adding them. Gives me my total, and this is all the rest of it. So let's go over now and see if we can download this. So we have to come up here under communications, see who's active, and I can come down here under Ethernet IP, and I can see my program is under 04, and I click on that, and there it is, my 16. Right there it is. So that's my path. Now, if I didn't have this, I would have had to have gone under links and set up my path. But it's all set up and it's ready to go. So I'm all ready to go here. Okay, so I say who active? I want to download. So I'm going to download this program. And it says update firmware, so I'm going to update my firmware to this version. It's version 31, and I'm going to go to version 33, so I'm going to do that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but sometimes we have to do this. Okay. Take a little bit of time. So we're waiting. You do not want to turn the processor off while it's doing this. Usually you don't have to do this, but this time we do, so we're going through the process. Okay, it's waiting for a transfer delay, so. Update number 4. Again, most of the time you don't have to do this, but this time we are. So we're just having to wait. Okay, so now we can do a download. Okay, let's go online. See the turquoise? We can go on to the run mode. We see the green. We can come up here, test it by right-clicking, and toggle a bit. Toggle a bit on, and it counts to 1. Everybody see that? Toggle a bit back off. So that'd be like pushing the button, okay? And then I can cancel last, which would be down here. Toggle this bit. And that would bring it back to a 0. The count came back to a 0. If you hit toggle bit again, it should not go less than 0 because this is protecting you from doing that. Whopper cost, if we fill in the value for that, let's go up here. Toggle bit, get a 1 in our count, and put a number for toggle cost. And the way we do that is to go under parameters and local routine. So we go under monitor and Whopper cost. Let's put it in a value for that. Let's put it in like 987. Okay, now we've got a 1 and we've got a 987. What's our total? Let's go back and see what our total is. Enter. See, our total is 987. So it's 1 times 987 is equal to 987. So our compute block actually is working. So now all I have to do is go back and do our program for the, and the reset. Let's try the reset. Reset toggle bit. Took it back to 0. So we're all set. It works. And we're back in business. And we're ready to try the HMI program. Okay, we're now back with the graphics program, and we're going to build a program. We gave the name on the view designer of Whopper Graphics or Whopper GR, and first thing I want to do is tie this to a program in the program file. So basically, we've got to tie this to a PLC. So project over here under controller reference name, let's just call it Whop. Give it a name. And the logics file, this is what we're going to do, is we're going to look under the logics file, and this is the one that we're going to do, whopper.acd. And there's several backups of this, but this is the one we're going to use on the OneDrive, and it's the Whopper, and that's the one we're going to, and now we're going to drill down, we're going to see it as a controller path here, and we're going to select it, and we're going to actually physically find it, and it's going to be right here, and it's this one right here. We downloaded to it. That's the one we're going to say OK on. So that's the one we're going to actually get the values from. So right there is the one we were going to say we're going to get the values from. So apply, OK, and now when we go and find values, we're going to be able to. It goes to the processor and actually finds them. So here is we're on screen 1, and we're going to use the variables here, and there's okay. So under common controls, under common controls is where we're going to find our buttons, and this is down here. They're kind of buried. You got to kind of bring them up here, and here's some of our controls. So here's our toolbox. So this is it's kind of an interesting how do you do this, but basically if you click on common controls, there they should be. So this is your window for common controls. Let's go down here and find a button. I'm going to put a button up there. Okay, so let's use this as a button. Now there's no reason why we couldn't have used a graphic as a under the toolbox, use the rectangular, but let's use the button, and let's go down and see what the button is about. So let's go over here and say under properties, it's got an appearance, it's got a text, and let's go through and look and see what it says. So here is the text for it, and let's just go see what we do here. Okay, so let's just type in the word. Okay, so we got the word button. Let's go back and say the word Whopper. Okay, so now we should be able to get the word Whopper instead of that. Let's see if we got that. Okay, so so now we've got the name Whopper in there for that button. Now under events, I want to have on button behavior, I want to choose the behavior, and I want set 1 on press, 0 on release, and then I'm going to find that tag in the program. So in the program called Whop, we're going to go down to program tags. Let's see what we can find under main. Let's see if we can find them. Okay, under main program. So there they are. The Whopper button is the button that we're going to press, and we're going to be able to, when we push this button, we're going to see the value change. So let's just try that and make sure that that works. So under project, I want to verify it, 0 errors, and then I'm going to go under okay, close, and then I'm going to go under project, emulate. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before, and I'm going to build this emulator, and I'm going to try to see if I can get this puppy to run. So basically, here's my emulator, and then I'm going to go back to my PLC program and see if I can get it going, and Now I'm going to try to drag this over to the side. Okay, so this is my HMI emulator program, okay? I'm going to go over and I want to go get this one back and this over on the side, and let's see if I can put this over kind of on the side. Okay, now I've got to go in and go online. Now bring back my emulator program, and if I click on the button, you see as I'm pushing the button, it's actually seeing it go, and every time I do it counts up by 1. So this works. Now all I've got to do is build the rest of my screens, and I'm done. So basically, I'm now going to go back to my back to my program, and I'm going to build the rest of my screens. So here is under Whopper. The first part of it, I can show you how that one's done. But basically, let's go back and let's do the cancel last. So let's go back and do another button. Okay, so another button. Just drag the button up there. Okay, so this is the button. This would be a cancel last. Okay, and then I click on that and I say events and button behavior, set to 1 on press, 0 on release, and then the tag is cancel last. Okay, now I've got cancel last working. Now I'm going to do another one. So reset. Okay, and then event, button behavior, tag on this one is resets, reset right there. Okay, so the tag on this one was, what? The tag was, I don't think I set it. Yeah, cancel it. So I've got them all set. Now, what else did I have? I had the one that moved from one to the other, and that one is a button. That one would be a go to screen 2. Okay. And then I would go over here and I would say screen 2 and then event would be a button behavior, and see what it says. So it says down this list, open pop-up, close pop-up, navigate to screen, on release, navigate to screen. I've got to create another screen, so I can't do that yet because I got to create another screen. So I got to go back over here, and under this, I've got to create another screen. So basically, right-click new, not new folder, but new screen. I want a new screen. How do I do that? I've got to go back down here, and I've got to say I want a new screen. Project properties. Okay, that's not what I want. I want a new screen. New screen, screen 2. Okay, so screen 1 is going to be my primary screen. This is supposed to go to screen 2. Go to screen 2, go to screen 2. So now on events, I want to navigate to screen, and I want to navigate to screen. On release and screen 2. I'm going to go to user-defined screen, screen 2. So that's going to move to screen 2. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to have in my toolbox, I'm going to have a numeric display, and I'm going to show the total. So this is a numeric display, and its properties is it's going to show the value, and I'm going to bind that to a value in inner binding. It's going to be a value called total. Value called total numeric display. What kind of display do I have after the digit 2? And that should do it. For this moment, that should do it. 5 and 2, so that should give me enough space. Let's do that, just to be fair about it. Okay, so let's. Okay, we've got enough space now. Let's try to create the other screen, and on that screen have the capability of the second screen. On the second screen, we're going to have the button or the display of numeric input. So the numeric input. Okay, so this would be numeric input. This would be the total, or this would be the price of the Whopper. And I also want over there, I want a some kind of text, and I want to have something there that's not text input, but text display. I don't want text input, I want text display. I want to say Whopper price, and then I want to have this, which would be the price, enter, and that is the value of a numeric input, and that would be the value, and enter the binding for that would be the value of Whopper cost. Okay, and that would give me, after this 1.2, and I'm all set. Okay, should give it a bit more room. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if I can get this to work. Verify project, verifying all, 0 errors. Do a okay, close, do a emulate, see if it all works. So primary screen, secondary screen, and let's see what we got. Okay, so I've got 49 evidently in my count. I didn't know that I had that many Whoppers, so let's go reset and see if it goes back to 0. It did. Every time I hit it, it goes, oh, it goes to 10, 20. So it's going up. This must be the price. Go to the second one. There's 10. So we've got $10 for the. Okay, that's okay. We can work on that. But that gets us something now. We can change this if we want to. Let's go to 20. Let's go back. Let's go to 987. Okay. Well, we've got a problem with the display portion, but at least we're working on it. We're getting there. Okay, so at least we're starting now to be able to see how to make the Whopper program actually work. So take care. Have a good day. We'll see you. Talk to you later. Hello. We're starting again with a new. This is the Conveyor project. And we're looking at a system here, if I can get the picture up. So we have a 1214C CPU, and we have a 1500 basic HMI panel, and we've already got the IP addresses settled. This is 3 and this is 5, but they're brand new programs, and we're going to start with the PLC program, and we're going to do the HMI. So we're going to do the PLC program first. And then we're going to the HMI. So let's go to the PLC. So we have to have some kind of a device that will start and finish a job. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a start button, and that start button will say start, and we're going to define it as a internal global memory, and it'll be M0.0. And we're going to have a stop button that we're going to call stop, and we're going to have it as a global memory, and we're going to have a another bit that we're going to not decide what we're going to call it yet, but we're going to put it in there, and then we're going to have a coil called run, and that's going to be our way of controlling this whole operation with a run bit, and we'll do that. So the run coil will seal, and so right to there. So now we have a circuit that, except for this, we don't know what that is yet, but we're going to have a run circuit. So let's go down here, let's create the rest of the logic so we can have that run circuit do something. So we're going to have a timer, use a TON timer, but before that we got to put a contact in there. It's going to be the run contact. And then we're going to have a timer that's going to time. Let's call it the conveyor. And this is going to be the conveyor run. So let's just call it conveyor. And we got the wrong spot. Let's put it right there instead of down here. So we're going to have to go back and put it right there. Call it conveyor. And this 5 seconds is a good amount of time that we're going to run that bottle across the conveyor. And we have to have a variable here so that we can use. So let's use the variable conveyor time, or let's just call it position. Okay, right click. This is an interesting tag because we can say it as a time, or we can say it as a dent. And let's use a dent. And then let's have an output here that resets itself. So let's just call this conveyor done. And then right click, define tag, and global. Fine. And bring back here a contact. I'm going to close contact that says conveyor done. So it basically is going to sit there as long as we're running and continually time 0 to 5,000, 0 to 5,000, 0 to 5,000, just keep continually doing that. Okay, then we're going to come down here and we're going to have another one that every time this thing counts up, it's going to give us a bit that says count till done. In other words, how do you, when you count, it's, okay, so let's do this. Conveyor done. It's going to go to one called a counter. And we're going to call this bottles. Okay, so we're going to do bottles. Okay, so we're going to be counting bottles. And the preset is, if you look at the layout, there's 20 of them when you get to the full. Let's go bottle count. Accumulated bottle count, or whatever you want to call it. That's define tag, and that's what we're going to count it as. Okay, so now we have this going. And then the reset is off of when we hit start on a leading edge of start. So we're going to have a bit logic, and on a positive on start, So when I say start, okay, and this is start one shot. Okay, so right click on that, and that's our tag, and we're going to say not a local, but a global. Here we go. So when we reset, and then it starts counting. Every time it counts, it gets up one more and one more, one more. Get to this point, and we have a bit. We say done, bottle's done, and that's a bit right here. So our bottle's done. Right click, find tag, global. So let's try this and see if this works. Okay, really we need to compile it first. Looks like it's going to work. Let's see if we can download it. So this is the when I've got USB to fast Ethernet. So that's PNIE is correct. PNIE here. And then see if we can start search if it works. Say load. Okay, no action. If it's pink, you got to act. Stop all. Load. Finish. So we've now downloaded the program. And I want to go back and I want to look at the HMI program and see if we can get it to work as well. So the screen we have now is this one right here. Let's add a button. Properties. We want to make this one say start. And then we want to go down one and say when pressed, say start as well. So that's going to be our label. And then let's go over here under events. And I want to say press and add function. And I want to edit bits, set bit while key pressed. I want to do it off of the bit start bit. So I've tied this button to this action, this event, and we can now go back and we can look at it and see if it's going to work. Let's bring another one over, start, stop. This will be our stop button. Stop. Okay, so we're going to say stop. Now we're going to come over here under events, and we'll click press, and we're going to say add a function. Set bit while key pressed. And the contact will be the stop button. So let's try this. Compile this. Compile it. So it worked. So we now can go back and we can say, okay. Now at this point in time, if you do get an error, the error probably would be that there's some extra buttons that they artificially added down here, but it seemed to have worked okay this time. So if it does act up, go down here at the bottom and delete the extra buttons that they added in and get rid of them. So I'm just saying that just as a general warning because I've had problems with that before. So let's do a compile. No problem. And let's do the start simulation, see if we can start. So we're not going to see the whole thing, but we're going to see at least if this if the program kind of works and if we can kind of get it to work. So let's do this. Let's go over under our PLC program, go online. Okay. Now our simulation is right down here ready to go, but I'm going to go online first of all and see if I can see my logic. Click with the glasses, so let's see if I can bring this program up, the WinRT program. And if I click Start, it should take off and run. Click Start, it should seal, and if I hit Stop, it should turn it off. Start again. Let's just see if I can see this problem, if I can see this going. And see it moving. It's moving. So is the count incrementing? We need to ask that question. Is the count incrementing? Yes, it's to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's going to go to 20 to sit there and it's going to turn off. Let's see if that happens. 8, 9, 10, every 5 seconds. Okay. 12, up to 12 now. Should have brought this down to a lower number so it wouldn't take it so long. But let's see if it's going to work. Okay, we're gonna see this thing running through there, and it's going to go up to 20. Okay, so when it gets to 20, we'll go back and see if so let's see when it happens to when it gets to 20. There's to 20, and boom, it turned it off. So we have a program, and let's go back, and we're not going to mess with this program at all. Let's just go back to our HMI. Let's see what we can do. So let's go back to the screen. And now that we've got it up and kind of running, let's see if we can add to it. Let's get a conveyor on there. So under automation, under graphics, under graphics, there's one called, okay, so I'm going to spread this one out a little bit so we can see more of these. Under graphics, industries, excuse me, automation. Automation conveyors. Here are a bunch more. There's conveyors right there. So we're going to come down here, we'll look and see if we can find a conveyor that we like. So it's under industries, under conveyors. Now let's bring this up a little bit, see if we can see down here. Here's some of the conveyors that they've got. And look down here. Okay, bring this up. Now these are all the conveyors they've got. Doesn't look like there's very many conveyors there. Let's see if we got anything under equipment. Flows, conveyors. Not very good right there. Let's see if we can find under industries. Material handling. See if we can. Okay, that's not very good. See if under food, if we got any, there's the bottle. There's the bottle under food. So if we got anything under machining where we can see anything. Other equipment, conveyors, other equipment, see what we can find under there. Anything? Belts, miscellaneous. Here are some different conveyors. Let's see if we can find one there. Bring this one out. Let's see if that works. This probably would do. If we can bring it longer. See if there's any others. Okay, that's probably about. Let's see what this one looks like. It's a screw conveyor. We don't want that one. This is about the best one we got right here. Okay, that's about as good as we're going to get. So these are all different types of conveyors. Maybe this one. Let's try this one. Yeah, this is the one we wanted. This is the one in the picture. Okay. All right, so this is the one we want. So now we're going to put this over here, and we're going to put this bottle on here. And what we want to do is we want to bring this to the front. We want to, animation, we want to bring it, the order, we want to bring it to the front. So the bottle is over the conveyor. So now we've got this going. And we want to animate the horizontal position of the bottle. So we want to animate this bottle. So we're going to have to kind of, okay, under the bottle, the properties of the bottle, animation, we're going to animate the kind of move this up a little bit. Sorry about that. We're going to move it up right now. Animate the movement of the bottle and new animation. Direction of movement. Move object horizontally. So that's what we want to do. We want to move object horizontally. Okay. Horizontal movement. Okay, so we're going to do this. Now, the name of the tag is conveyor position. Okay, and the range is from 0 to 100. I don't know what the final range. Okay, range is from 0 to 5,000. And the start position is there, and the end position is there, and that should be fine. That should do us okay. So let's just try that and see if that works. Okay, so let's bring this down. And watch this and see if it works. So we're going to recompile the program. And we're going to do the start simulation. And we're going to see if it works. Okay, so here we go. Start. So it goes a little bit shy of the end, but I'm going to let you fiddle with that and make that okay. So now we're watching this go through, and we're actually able to see this happening. Okay, so you can see the bottle moving across each time it moves across. Good, so we're all set. Now let's stop this and create the other part, which is the boxes. And I am not going to draw all the parts and pieces here, but I am going to get a circle, basic objects. So this would be an end bottle. This would be one of the boxes that's in the case. And I'm going to animate it for what? Let's go through with visibility. properties, animations, and new animation, visibility. Not movement, it's the display. Okay, that animation or display, visibility. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add a new animation for visibility. Visibility dynamic. Okay, so animation. Click on add it right there. So visibility. Okay. And I want the tag model count. From 0, it's going to be visible when it's 1 to 20, from 1 to 20. Okay, so it's going to be visible when the count is from 1 to 20. So we're going to say that. Okay, now we're going to go back. And we're going to compile. See if it works, see if it compiles. A bunch of errors, but no, it looks like everything's compiling. So there's 0 errors, 9 warnings, but we're all set. Come back. We're going to run our little blue button, or simulator. See if we can do this. Click OK. And let our simulation start. So now we're going to click Start. Oops, I have to wait. There it goes. So it started, and then it added it when it was. Now, if you had 2 or 3 or 4, you can do copy paste, and away you go. So you can animate the bottle, and you can also animate the bottle being going into a rack. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up for the conveyor for the Siemens, and we're going to now move on to the Allen Bradley. Hello, we're starting another project here with the Allen Bradley, and we're going to do the conveyor. And so we're going to click New Project, and we're going to click Logics, and we're going to say Compact Logics 5370 L16ERBB1B. Go to name, call it conveyor. Let's say A. And revision is 33, 0 modules. Finish. So we're going to be looking at the same program that we wrote for Siemens. We're going to write it in Allen Bradley. With the same basic concept in mind, that we can have a start and a stop button and a conveyor that goes, but this time it's going to go in states. It's not going to go as a timer, it's going to go in states. So we're going to have the time, it's going to click off, and every time we go to a new state, we're going to add like maybe 8 states. And then we're going to have bottles with the same thing we did before with the visible and invisible. So we're going to do under favorites, we're going to, first of all, we got to get our main program up here. And main routine. So start with button, run, or excuse me, start. And I'm going to stop. And then one with an unknown. Then output called run. Okay, so I click on start, new bool, create. Right click on stop, new, stop, bool, create. We don't know what this one is yet. We're going to worry about that later. New, click on run, coil, create. Come down here and we throw a rope around start. Bring our cursor down here, click on a contact, call it button, or call it run. Run, and we're all set. Except for that one, we don't know what that one is yet. We'll figure it out. Okay, so come down here. And now when we're doing this, we're going to have the run. And we're going to be doing a timer like we did before. We're also going to have the done bit of the, so this is going to be run. This will be, okay, so we're going to have to give it a timer. Let's call this conveyor. Okay, right click, new conveyor, it's a timer, create. Let's have a preset of 500. Okay, that's half a second. And then 500 conveyor done. Whoops, .en.ted, dn. So the done bit. So when the done bit turns on, this turns on, and it keeps on going. So we're just going to every 8 of those, let's say every 10 of those, that's 5 seconds. So now we're going to come down here and every time this does this, we're going to, every time the done bit turns on, we're going to, let's throw a rope here, let's throw a rope here. All the way back to here. So every time the done bit turns on, oops, do it right here. Kill this one off. So every time the done bit comes on, we're going to add one to a counter. And the counter is going to go from 0 to 10. Okay. Okay, so here's our counters. We're going to do it right here. We're going to count up. This is going to be our conveyor state. Conveyor state, and the preset's going to be 10. Oops, right click. New conveyor state, create. We're going to 10. When this is done, we're going to reset both. We're going to reset. Okay, so when this conveyor state is done, we're going to add one to another counter. When conveyor state is done, we're going to do another one. We're going to reset conveyor state, and we're also going to increment bottle counter. We have 20 of these. We're also going to, when this happens, we're going to reset I'm going to reset conveyor state. Okay, so we're going to reset conveyor state. So this is going to go to 10. This is going to go to 20, and when it goes to 20, when we're so when bottles is done, whoops. So when bottles is done, then we're going to what? We're going to reset bottles. So when it's done, we're going to reset it. And we're also going to say bottles.done up here. Okay, so when we hit start, this might work. It might work better if I had well, this will work as well as if I put I think what I should do here is, as opposed to doing it like this, I should put it on another line and put it down here. And then if I hit a button called bit, okay, I'm going to do the contact first for start. Then I'm going to put the ONS, one shot, just start, one shot. You start one shot bool, then go create, and that's going to do this. That's going to do this as well. So I'm going to do it like this as opposed to doing it like that. So we're going to do this. So compile. It looks like it's going to compile. See if we can download. Communications, who active? See if we can see our download device. Looks like we might be able to. It says the old program called Buffer. Let's do a download. See if we can download to this puppy. Looks like it's doing okay. Okay, so I got to remember all these bits. One is called conveyor state. Goes from 0 to 9. Bottles is the counter. And then we have start and stop. Okay, so let's see if we can create, and this program is called Conveyor A. Click save under file. Save. Okay. And we're going to go back. We're going to create now the other program, which is the Rockwell HMI program, Studio 5000. New project. We're going to call this under View. We're going to pick the 12-inch screen. We're going to say Conveyor B. Okay, hit Enter. Okay, so we're going to have a button. Let's just call this controller reference name, Conveyor. Logics file, let's look at this Conveyor A. And HMI, we're going to go down and we're going to look and see if we can find it. Okay, it's right here. Okay. Okay, so we're okay. I think it's, yeah, that's the same thing. Emulator. Okay. Okay. So we're now into building the program, and need to look at the buttons. First of all, we got two buttons. This is the first one button. Okay, let's drag a button up there. And this button we're going to call button 1, and it has properties. Let's call it, instead of word text, let's call it, instead of the word button, let's call it start. And an event will be button behavior. And it would be set to 1 on press, 0 on release. The tag would be in our program called Conveyor. Okay, so we can get a hold of it here. Okay, so we want to start again, get to the point where we can see the button, see the Here we are. It took all that time to find them, but there they are. The run button, the start button. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time sometimes for that to actually sink in and actually go down and pick up those variables. So hopefully you don't have that long of a delay, but maybe you will. I don't know. Hopefully not. Here's your stop button. Another one. Bring it up here under that one. Call this our stop button. Event, button behavior. Choose behavior. Set to 1 on press, 0 on release. Tap, tap, and tag. We're going to come down here now. It's working, and it's the what? The stop button. So we got the stop button. Okay, so we got the start and we got the stop button. Now we need to bring in our two images. And one of them is I've taken these images off of the Siemens and I've loaded them into my desktop under you recognize these here's the bottle and there's the conveyor. So I'm going to bring the bottle in. So there's the bottle, and now I'm going to get the conveyor. So another image and browse. There's the conveyor. So now I have the conveyor and I have the bottle. So the conveyor is real small, but I can make it bigger. And I can they're gray and everything else is light, but that's okay. We can work with that. Now let's go here and see if we can bring to front. So now we can put the bottle on the conveyor, and so let's animate the bottle. So right click on the bottle, but the animate, this is the image. Right click. It says properties. Okay, so this is image and animation, and we're going to animate an animation at a state table. So our state table is going to be the counter of conveyor state. So it's a state table. We're going to call it conveyor state, and it is going to have a state table. There's going to be 10 states, and it's going to have okay, the state tables. Okay, so we're gonna worry about this later. Okay, so, okay, and the state table has okay. Click on 10 states. Image, yes. Image name, we got it. We're all set. So we're gonna click OK. Now the bottle. Okay, and where is this going to be coming from? Where's this state going to be coming from? Inner binding. Okay, so this is the binding. This is going to be the count. This is going to be the conveyor state. Okay, right there is the conveyor state. So that's going to be us, and we're going to state 2. We're going to have to see what we're angle 0 enabled. Okay, so at each one of them. Height, image, bottle. Okay, opacity, visibility, width, Y. Okay, so each of these Y values, each of these. Okay, so now we're gonna. Okay, so we're going to watch to see if this moves. Okay, so let's basically say state. Okay, so at each of these positions, it's going to go a little bit further to the right. So maybe we'll go 113. $23, $33, $43. I should have started at the top, Ted. So I should have started with 3 right here. This would be state 0. State 1 would be 13. State 2 would be 23. 33, 43, 53, 63, 73, 83, and 93. Okay, so let's try that and see if that works. So now that we've got this thing kind of going here, let's see if we can make this thing work. So let's go up under our project, emulate, and see if we can actually emulate this thing, see if it works. So here it is, and we're going to see if we can actually make this thing work. So here's our program. So it doesn't seem to want to work. So I have an invalid tag, invalid data type conveyor, invalid conveyor state. So that would be a state. I bet I know what it is. I bet it's conveyor state.acc. That's what we need. We need to have this conveyor state.acc. That'll fix it. Try that. So let's do it again. Project, emulator, project. Try it again. So, see if it works. Let's see. Try it out and see. Here you go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It stops. See if we can stop it. It should stop. It should start again from scratch. Okay, we're fine. Works. Okay, so this part of it works. Now let's go back and look at the other part, which is the bottles, and see if we can actually have a little circle here that we can create. Maybe fill it or something, I don't know, but let's just go through and see if we can actually animate this thing. So let's go up here and see if we can click on this. Now if we can animate this, this is an ellipse, and if we can, properties, appearance. Okay, so we're going to add a animation visibility, or an event. Okay, let's go under position and size. Let's go under appearance. Visibility, yes. Okay, so we're going to check on visibility and visibility. So I'm going to click on this, binding it to a button. So we're going to bind it to a button, whether it's visible or not, and that would be what? We haven't really provided a bit yet for that, but let's just say, for instance, that we have a let's just say we have a the least significant bit in the word let's say in the bottles counter, the least significant bit, which would be bottles counter dot 0. So let's just go in there and find bottles counter. Bottles counter, let's go to that one. Accumulated value in the bool dot 0. Let's do that and see if that works. And that's not our final answer, but let's just see if we can get this to compile. So when it turns on to 1, we should be able to see that turn on. So let's see if that works. Emulate project. Start. Okay. So if that does work, we're going to have a bit. Okay, click start. When the first one goes across, it's going to turn on, and it's going to turn off, and it's going to turn on. Okay, it turned on. Now it's going to turn off again because that bit, at least bit, is going to turn off and on. So instead of having, every other bit is going to turn on. So instead of it being the least significant bit in the accumulated count, we're going to have to set a bit every time. Okay, so it's equal to 1, we're going to have to write, if it's greater than or equal to 1, we're going to have to set a bit, and then you can do that yourself. I'll write the logic for that, but you can see that we have to do 20 of these, and okay, so there's going to be 20 of these bits written, so we're going to have to do this separately, and we're going to go back into the logic, and as soon as we get there, we're going to say something like this, offline. Go offline, and so if the conveyor state, the number of bottles is greater than 0, okay, so here we're going to have to add some logic. This is going to take a little bit more. This is not quite as efficient, so we're going to use a greater than. Okay, so we're going to use a greater than 0. Okay, so bottles .acc is greater than 0. Then we're going to turn on bit 1. So that would be bottle 1. That'll be bottle 1. That'll be a bit called bottle 1. Okay, so we're going to do 20 of these. Okay, bottle 1, and then we keep doing this. So new bottle 1, create. Here, I want Control C, Control V. Okay, greater than 1. This will be bottle 2. Etc., etc., etc. So we're going to do this 20 times, and then we are in. But that's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. But basically, if you do this 20 times, and then each one of these bottles would be visible when you get when that bit turns on, it's visible. In other words, when the bit is a 1, it's visible, which would be the same as back here, which we said was visibility would be tied to, instead of ACC.0, it'd be bottles 1 right here. So that would be a suggestion for how to do the bottles in the rack. So that should help you, and wish you the best. So we're starting again with the really the old package from Allen Bradley called Factory Talk View, but it's available, and it should be something that you would normally use, and it's a good package. And I've selected a screen size. It's pretty decent size, and we're only going to use this for display on the computer, but it's a nice screen to look at. Project settings, right click under not under project runtime, but under project settings, we're going to look and we're going to see the size of this panel, which we picked to be a fairly decent sized panel, 12-inch wide, 1280 by 800 pixels, and we're going to say okay to that. We're going to go back. We're going to get out of this panel. So we're going to get out of this one. And we're going to see how we get out of this one. Click on that, and we're back to now we're back to picking out the application, and here we are with our base screen, and we're going to go down to the first thing we're going to do is under Factory Talk Links, click on Communication Setup, and we're going to create a link. And there was one already there called R-Test. We're going to remove it. We're going to do that again. We're going to start from scratch. And also, we were under this Ethernet IP. We're going to drill down under it, and we're going to drill down under the until we get everything conveyor to conveyor A, and we're going to highlight that. And then we're going to come up here and add a link. Let's call this just link. And we're going to highlight it, and we're going to highlight this thing called Conveyor A. Now watch what happens up here when I do this. So the word apply links up when I've got this darkened and I've got this darkened. So now click apply, and it says basically, do you want to link these two together? And you click yes. And then you come down here, and somewhere down here at the bottom, there is a screen that says you can click OK, and you're okay. So come down here and click OK. You should have clicked apply too. Let's go back and do this again. So I got to click apply. Okay, so link. This, make sure that they're both highlighted. Okay. And okay. So the link here. Let's remove it and start over again. Okay. Add link. And this, click apply, say yes, and then I think you say verify. That's okay. Then you say okay. Now we can go ahead and create buttons, and when we create a button, we will be able to use that link, and we'll be able to create a link between the PLC and the HMI panel. So I'm clicking on main here, and I've already got main up, so here it is. Then I come up here under objects and push buttons, and I pick a momentary push button, and I upper left to lower right, and that's creating my button. Now I get this momentary push button pop up, and I say states. Under caption, I want to say start, and it's real small, but that's S-T-A-R-T. Under state 1, and do the same thing, S-T-A-R-T. Then you come over here into connections, and then you right click on tag, or left click on tag, and refresh all folders. So there's a button down here that says refresh all folders, and now I have this L-I-O-N-K, and click on it, and that's, then click on online, click under program, main program, and then click under this, and you see the words run, start, one shot, and stop. So these are the words that are in the program that we already had. And so I'm going to click the word start, and now it's going to tie the word start with that button, with that tag. That's the tag in the PLC. Click apply, click OK. Now let's test this. So we're going to bring our program up, but first I'm going to run this program. I'm going to click run right here. I'm going to not minimize it, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to bring it over a little bit. I'm going to bring this program over here so that I can show you that the program actually is running. So here's this little piece of the program right here. I want to look at that. And then I'm going to click up here where my button is, click Start. That says Start Display. And now when I click this, you see the button starting over here. You see it actually starting. You see that. Okay, so that's the button. So now I'm going to come up here, like Edit Display. I'm going to be back doing this, and we're back in business. And now I'm going to do the other button, which is Objects, Push Button, Momentary. Or I could just Control C, Control V that one, but let's do it like this. So now I've got states, state 0, stop, and state 1, and stop. Come over here into Connections, click on again, and this time I find the stop button, click OK. Apply. Okay. Now I've got my start and my stop button, and if I come up here, I can try my application, and it should work. Now I want to go down and I want to find a bottle, and I want to find a conveyor. So under Images and Symbols, there's libraries of different things, and let's go down and look under Libraries and see if I can find bottles. And there's one right there. So I can now come up here and find here. I want to find this one, Control C, come back up under this one, plop it in. Okay, so I need to go back and do it again. So here's my bottle. Control C, Control V. There it is. There's my bottle. I'll get rid of this little guy. Whatever that is, I'll get rid of it. Delete it out. So here's my bottle. Okay, so that's just a bare bottle, but let's just say that's going to be what we're going to use. And now let's go down here into Conveyors and see if we can find a conveyor part. So here I want to find a conveyor that looks like it might work. Here's one right here, Control C, come back over here, Control V, and I've got a conveyor and I've got a bottle. So now I can put the bottle on the conveyor, and away I go. I want the bottle in front, so I have to do an arrange, bring to front. So the bottle should be in the front, it should ride on the conveyor, and that should work. Okay, so now I want to animate the horizontal position of the bottle. So I double click on the, right click on the bottle, and I come up here and find animate the horizontal position. So now I have to find an expression or a tag, and it is what? The bottle is, let's go back and look. It's the bottle is the I put this to 5,000. So okay, so I've in my conveyor, I'm going to 0 to 5,000. So it's called conveyor. So that is the one I wanted to animate, and that's the one I want to use. So conveyor, so it's the tag for the program called conveyor. So let's go up and find if I can find that program. Okay, so conveyor. And it would be the accumulated value of the conveyor. Okay, so it's going to go from 0 to 5,000. And so I've already set it here. It's at 0. Use a constant, minimum 0, maximum 5,000. Offset at minimum 0, at maximum, let's go to 500. Let's go to 400 and see if that works, okay? From experience, I think that will work just fine. Let's click on this and then close and test this and see if it works. So now, if I hit start, it's already running, so I don't have to do anything other than just, okay, it's running. So I have this bottle, and if I put color on it, and it would be working better, but it's, anyway, you can see it now going across. Okay, so as the numbers increase, if I can stop it, okay, it stopped. Okay. So as the numbers increase in my program, I can put that state at 1 because I really don't care about that. The bottles start counting up in the bottle counter, and then that's where I do my if the bottles count goes greater than 0, that's when I want to add my that's when I really want to eliminate this state idea of this conveyor state. So I want to put in here, just get rid of this, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to go down here and do this. If I look at bottles, if I look at how many that the bottles count, I can look at that number, and if it's greater than 0, I'm going to put in visible. It's going to be visible. So I'm going to look at this thing, and I'm going to say, I'm going to find something that looks like a bottle over here. So the bottom of a bottle, let's look at an ellipse. So we'll do that. Got to stop this so I can go over and get it. Now here's my ellipse. Okay, here's my ellipse. And I'm not going to worry about the color, but I'm going to right click on it, say okay, right click on it, and I'm going to animate its visibility. And I'm going to say that value, that tag of that bottles greater than 0. Okay, so I'm going to say greater than 0, greater than 0. Whoops. Visibility. Okay. Right click. Visibility of that guy. Expression. I want visibility of the tag bottles.acc greater than 0. I want to say 0. Say apply. Close. Now let's run this and see if we got that. Okay, click on this. So when I start, the number 0. It's going to take a while because we're going to go through those states. But once we start through those states, there you go. It turned on. So that is something that's invisible that turned to visible, and you can do the rest of them. Greater than 1, greater than 2, greater than 0, greater than 1, greater than 2, greater than 3. And you can build those into a palette, and then that would be a way of showing that. So this gives you an idea on how to animate, and some of the other things you will be wanting to do is with the cash register is doing things like objects like a numeric button, numeric display, numeric input enable, and those kind of things. Display navigation, go to, go from, that type of thing. And we'll talk about some of these other ones again at later dates. But this is a good place to start and give you an idea on how to use VectorTalk View Studio. Take care and have a good day.